Hey guys, how's your day going? It's been a while. It's been about 2 months. A lot has happened in my life, which has made me not able to get the willpower to want to do so. About 2.5, 3 months ago, broke up with my girlfriend of like 2.5 years. She cheated on me and made me kind of my workout schedule was kind of fucked. And just the last week or so, it's been just amazing. So that I get on here. I saw that my basketball video has done amazingly, which is fucking amazing. So I decided I could make another one. My just because I love basketball, it's one of my hobbies, my interests. I just love the history of it, everything about it. So I decided to make my top 10 NBA players of all time. And after this goes up, see where to go from there. See what happens. I'll keep posting workout stuff, of course, maybe even add another few hobbies and interests. We'll just see what happens. Okay, first off, I would like to premise this video by saying this is going to be my top 10 NBA players. Your top 10 shouldn't share 10 players in order with just about anyone you know. It's extremely rare. Everyone has different opinions and different views on lives, different things that have happened through their life that make them value other things about an NBA player compared to something else. So obviously your list is not going to look different than mine. You can obviously say that in the comments, but it really doesn't matter. No one's going to share the exact same views as me. So without further ado, let's get the list started. Okay, number 10, starting off our list, is going to be the Bill Russell, the man with more championship rings than he has fingers. This man was an absolute beast of an NBA player. He played very early along with Wilt Chamberlain. I believe a little bit earlier than Wilt Chamberlain did. It's the 50s. He actually recently passed away, which is one reason I thought I'd do this. It's a very sad. One of my favorite players. He's, in my opinion, pretty underrated. I probably even consider myself underrating him myself. But he's an absolutely amazing player. Was a decent scorer, not among the greatest, but he was an absolutely beast of a defensive player. Unfortunately, blocks were not recorded at the time that he was playing, but if they would have been, he would have been top 3 in blocks easily. And he, in my opinion, the best defensive player of all time, and obviously the greatest winner of all time. Many argue he's one of, if not the greatest Celtic of all time, and just easily deserves to be top 10 NBA players of all time. Rest in peace, Bill Russell. Okay, my number 9 top NBA player of all time is going to be the Diesel Shaquille O'Neal. One of the most dominant, if not the most dominant, most people would say Wilt, player of all time. He was an enormous man, absolutely just powerful as fuck. He was insanely dominant. He played for many teams, primarily the Lakers and the Magic in his early career. Played with another top 10 NBA player in my mind of all time, Kobe Bryant. Diesel is just an amazing, in his prime, he was an amazing scorer. But unfortunately, his mindset for a lot of years is just not quite up there. He was oftentimes lazier than he should have been, which is just a testament to how insane he was. If he could have been much more hardworking and he was still a top 10 NBA player of all time, it's just incredible that he could have been top 3, the best center of all time easily. In my opinion, he is the best modern NBA center of all time. He easily deserves the 9th spot, in my opinion. And let's move on to the 8th. Okay, my number 8th greatest NBA player of all time is going to be Stephen Curry. Now, he's an absolutely phenomenal player. I just recently added him onto my top 10 of all time because he won his finals MVP finally, and he won his 4th ring, which is just absolutely incredible. He is, in my opinion, easily the greatest three-point shooter of all time. Obviously, it's a little skewed because the later we get into the NBA, obviously, the more and more that three-point is going to be involved. It's just three-point revolution. He is just an absolutely amazing playmaker, an amazing off-ball movement. He's just really easily gets his shots up. Just an amazing player all around. Okay, number 7 for me is going to be Larry Legend, Larry Bird. In my opinion, the greatest Celtic of all time. And probably of his time, the greatest three-point shooter ever, which is incredible. He won the most, tied for 3, I believe, with another NBA player. Just incredible dude. He was an absolutely dominant player. He amazing trash talker, which I think is a fun part of the NBA. If back problems hadn't have taken him out of the NBA, I think he'd be even higher, which is crazy because he didn't play for very long. Obviously, his back just took him out way too early, in my opinion. He was just amazing. He has a great playmaker too, underrated passer as well, and easily deserves top 10. Okay, number 6 for me is going to be, in my opinion, the greatest point guard of all time, Earvin Magic Johnson. Unfortunately, getting the AIDS virus just took him out of the game really early. He was an absolutely amazing passer, the best all time, easily. He just, in my opinion, my second favorite player of all time. The first is another Laker that'll come up here soon. I don't know why Lakers are. I just haven't. I really enjoy popular Lakers players. That is not the team I root for. I actually root for the Bucks, but he's just. I love his attitude towards life. He was always really outgoing, a really happy dude, and just friendly as hell. And he just an underrated player in general, I believe. He only didn't score because he just not nearly as well. He only scored 19 points. Like only 19 isn't that's bad, but that's still amazing since he did just a ridiculous amount of assists. He's easily the best passer in like far and away. Like not even no one's close to the passing that he did during playoffs and finals. He's just absolutely amazing. And number 6, in my opinion. And number 5, I have Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain. I know based on my last basketball video, this is gonna get a lot of hate. A lot of people saying number 3 was way too low for him. And I get it. He was an absolutely dominant player, probably the most dominant of NBA history. But recently, I've just put 2 other players higher than him, and I'll try to explain why afterwards. He just is an amazing athlete in general. If you want to hear a lot of the athletic accomplishments, you can watch my video about did Wilt Chamberlain, or was he able to bench 600 pounds? He scored 100 points in a game. He had a 50-point average per game season, which is just absolutely mind-blowing and just unimaginable in today's game. James Harden is the second closest one with 38 points. Unfortunately, I consider Wilt to be a bit of a ball hog, at least when he did that stuff. He was less of a winner, but in those days, it was hard to get onto a team that would win you championships. So he, played with lesser players. So of course he should get the ball more often. But he was just an absolutely amazing scorer and just an athletic phenomenon. Rest in peace, Wilt Chamberlain. Okay, and 4th for the greatest NBA players of all time, I have Kobe Bean Bryant. Now, I may be a little biased in this because he is my favorite player of all time. I just liked his mindset. He had his head to the grindstone, and he was just an amazing player as well, which was a reason for his just amazing playing. He, in my opinion, is the second greatest shooting guard of all time. He's just an amazing player, and unfortunately, a helicopter crash took him too early. Just really sad, and he just an amazing player. Some people call him a ball hog, but I like the way that he put it. He said, why should he give the ball nearly as much other than to himself when the people that he would pass it to or the people who are showing up to late to practice, just not putting up nearly as many hours when he's there early at practice, 4 or 5 hours. He just has some amazing stories. He holds the second highest scoring game of all time, 81 points, and he was just an extremely explosive scorer. In his prime, he scored more than 30 points on multiple occasions. At one point, I think it was 34 or 37 points per game in a season, which is absolutely ridiculous. He's just an amazing player and personally my favorite player. That's why I have him at the fourth spot. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Okay, number three is going to be, in my opinion, the greatest center of all time, Kareem Abdul Jabbar. He currently is the leading scorer of the NBA all-time career points. I do believe he's going to be surpassed by LeBron James, but as of right now, he's going to have that title, so people can use that for as long as the next season or two. He just an amazing center. He had one of the most undefendable shots in the game of basketball, the skyhook. He had incredible longevity, scoring 25 points for 20 seasons, which is just reliable for that long is just absolutely incredible. Of course, he had an amazing point guard by his side, but that does not take away the fact that he is, in my opinion, the third greatest player of all time. He easily the best center, just absolutely incredible. Played for the Showtime Lakers, just had 6 rings. He just has one of the most amazing careers in basketball ever. That's why I have him at the number 3 spot. Okay, number 2 is going to be the number 2 player of all time, LeBron James. Personally, I do not agree with him on a lot of his political stuff, and I don't completely respect him as a person, but you have to just admit that he is an absolutely phenomenal basketball player. And as long as he doesn't quit early because he wants to, he's going to have easily the just greatest longevity of any basketball player that has ever happened. He's incredible. He's going to take the scoring title from Kareem unless he just has an incredible injury or something terrible happens. For the most part, he's just an amazing basketball player. And obviously, he deserves the number 2 spot. Okay, the next part is going to be, I would like to list a few players that are honorable mentions. I don't think quite, in my opinion, make it to the top 10, but they certainly deserve to be mentioned just because they are amazing players other than the top 10. It's just, okay. Okay, Jerry West. He's just Mr. Logo. An absolutely amazing scorer, underrated. He could be named like the best NBA worker of all time, like GM, coach. He did it all, and he did it very well, I might add. He's an amazing player, and it's going to be really unfortunate when he passes away. But for right now, we still have him, and he's just incredible. Okay, Kevin Durant, I think, is listed at top 10 for a lot of players, but personally, like LeBron James, I disagree with him on a lot of things, and I think, frankly, he's a little bit of a pussy, but there's no doubt he's one of the most incredible scorers. He can score from just about anywhere. I mean, a 7-foot shooter is just incredible of itself. He's an amazing scorer. His defense is not quite there. It wasn't terrible at the beginning of his career, but now it's not incredible. But he's still no doubt one of the greatest NBA players of all time. I've been told by many that I criminally underrate Tim Duncan, and that may be true. I personally like the flashier players, as you can probably tell by my list, but there's no doubt he is the best power forward of all time, and it's just incredible. He had an amazing, dominant run of championships. Just an amazing player, very quiet, silent type. Although I like the flashier players, I certainly respect humbleness and just wanting to stay out of the spotlight. And he was an absolutely amazing player. Karl Malone is going to be another honorable mention. One of the greatest power forwards of all time, an absolutely amazing scorer. He was an Iron Man, had just had an amazingly long career. And obviously, it helped that he had one of the greatest point guards, John Stockton, just passing him the ball constantly. But that doesn't take away the fact that he was just an amazing player, amazing scorer, an absolute beast of a power forward. Okay, the final honorable mention on this list is going to be KG, Kevin Garnett, an absolutely amazing player, all-round player, just amazing defensively. I think he's underrated by a lot of people. He's just absolutely incredible, and I think he certainly deserves to be mentioned here. Okay, now on to our number 1 best player of all time. It's Michael Jordan. It's obviously Michael Jordan. I mean, his impact alone is just absolutely incredible to the game of basketball. Easily the best shooting guard of all time, an amazing scorer, highest average points per game of any NBA player. He, even though he played his last two uh, seasons with the Wizards and just wasn't nearly up to par, he still had 31 points per game. He's absolutely an amazing player. Air Jordan had one of, if not the highest vertical of any NBA player in history. It depends if you believe Wilt Chamberlain is 50 inches or not, which I personally don't. But he was an amazing player. He had one of the biggest dynasties in basketball history, the Bulls. 6 out of 8 rings, which is just absolutely insane. He was just an amazing player. He was pretty awesome dude in my opinion too. He's one of the richest, I think the richest NBA player of all time as well, as in from his NBA career. And he, in my opinion, is just transcendent of basketball. When you say certain sports, when you think they're good, you can call them the Michael Jordan of tennis, golf. Is That's why he is the number one, and I think personally, LeBron James will never surpass him. And that's gonna be the end of the. Okay, that's gonna be it for the video. Feel free to leave all your disagreements and comments in the comments. Obviously, I would love to hear them, read all of them. Thank you for the support so much. The last basketball video went absolutely nuts. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to watch more videos.